What is up, you guys? My name is Elias and I love movies. I got the idea to make this video from Nate Richardson, aka the film Hipster. Not too long ago, he actually brought up the question over at Twitter and asked everyone what exactly is a masterpiece. And of course, that started an amazing discussion, the type of discussions that I really love to have, which inspired me to make this video. If you guys are not subscribed to Nate Richardson, the film Hipster, the link to his channel will be down below, which is called The Empty Theater. 1, 2, 3.
Guerra Movie House!
Alright, so what do you say we start this video by looking up the actual definition of the word masterpiece? Alright, I got the definition right here, and it says a work of outstanding artistry, skill, or workmanship. And then the second part says an artist or craftsman's best piece of work. I agree with that definition, but the problem is, how exactly do you want to interpret that? Because the definition might say that, yeah, the masterpiece is a certain artist's best skilled work or their best work, but the question is, according to who? And my answer to that is according to you. Every single individual person. I believe that God gave every single one of us the ability to have our own opinions. Because truthfully, if we didn't have our own opinions, then life would be extremely boring. And because each and every single one of us have our own opinions, I believe that we define masterpiece individually in our own way. Meaning that whatever you believe is a masterpiece can be a masterpiece, and whatever you think makes a really good movie makes a really good movie. Because we can't all like the exact same movie. I know that we have tons and tons of critics, not just with movies, but with books and with pretty much anything out there that involves individual artwork. Just because 1,000 critics say that something is bad doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be bad to you. To me, a masterpiece, a masterful, amazing film is a film that is going to affect me in a certain way that no other film has. It's going to be a movie that I can most likely not find any flaws in. It's a movie that brings out all these emotions that I most likely never felt before, and if I did, it was probably with another movie that I consider a masterpiece. To me, a film that I can consider a masterpiece, a film that I can consider absolutely great, it's a movie that I'm going to have a personal relationship with. A movie that is going to literally take me somewhere that I've never been before, regardless of what anybody else says or thinks about that movie. Truth is, it's sad but true, but most people these days refuse to watch movies that are most likely independent or unknown because they believe that it will most likely suck. I mean, just because Roger Ebert said that a certain film is a masterpiece doesn't necessarily mean that you have to consider it a masterpiece. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think Roger Ebert was an amazing person, an amazing critic, and an awesome, really cool film buff. And just because he was a popular famous movie critic with a household name doesn't necessarily mean that everything that he says you have to take into consideration and or agree with. And no, that doesn't mean that you have the definition of the word masterpiece and we all have the right to change it, because the definition of the word is actually there. But how you decide to interpret that definition is really up to you. I'm not a big fan of comedies. I rather watch a really good drama other than a comedy. That doesn't mean I don't ever watch comedies. I do watch comedies once in a while, but if I had a choice, I would much rather sit down and watch a drama or a horror. Okay, you guys are gonna think this is absolutely nuts, but seriously, I actually have a really good friend whose favorite movie of all time is Step Brothers. I know, it doesn't make sense to me either. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy comedies, but I'm not one to say that Step Brothers is a masterpiece. But my friend loves the movie so much that he might go as far as to say that he considers it a masterpiece. Because he loves the movie, he doesn't find any flaws in it, he can watch it at any time, and he just loves every single thing about it and makes him feel a certain way that no other movie can. If someone were to go up to you and start explaining to you how they felt about a certain movie or how a movie made them feel before they gave you the title, the person went up to you and started just rambling about how a movie is so amazing and the story is wonderful and all of the right emotions for that person is there. It takes them to another place. It makes them feel a certain way that no other movie has ever made them feel. Everything about it is perfect. They can't find any flaws in it. They think it's one of the greatest movies ever made. They consider it a masterpiece. And they told you all of those things before they gave you the title. You would be very excited to know what movie it is that they're talking about, and also knowing that that person individually went through that experience. The problem is finding out what movie they're talking about, because that's when we all disagree. Truth is, it's best to agree to disagree, because we all have our own separate opinions. Just because the movie is extremely popular and a lot of critics say it's an A+ awesome movie doesn't mean you have to agree with them. I think Titanic is like one movie, or I think it has a tie with another movie with the most awards. Just because that movie has the most awards ever doesn't necessarily mean that you have to think it's the greatest movie ever. The word masterpiece does have a certain definition, but you define what that definition means to you. The definition does say that it is a certain artist's best body of work. For example, my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie is Rope, and Rope is one of his least popular movies. Whenever people talk about Alfred Hitchcock, nobody ever mentions Rope. People talk about Vertigo, Rear Window, or Psycho. And even though I love those movies and I think they're absolutely amazing, Rope is still my favorite, because whenever I watch this movie, it doesn't matter how many times I've seen it, it literally takes me to another place. It takes me to another level of the love that I have for film. I agree with the definition of masterpiece, but I believe that it is interpreted differently by each person. Just because a movie is successfully popular or has made more money than any other movie, got an A+ from every single critic, has more awards than anything, does not make it a masterpiece, and does not mean you have to love it. I can sit down and watch a romantic comedy with my wife or a thriller, but just because we're watching it as a pair does not mean that we have to see the exact same movie, because she might take something from that movie that I will not. And that's the beauty of art. That's the beauty of film, is the fact that it affects every single person differently. A masterpiece of a film is a movie that I'm never ever going to forget, because I'm gonna feel like I have a very close relationship. Something special about that movie that I felt a connection with, regardless how any other person feels about that certain film. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I know there's a lot more that I can cover, but this video would really be really long, because there really is no ending to this conversation, and that's what makes it so great. If you guys want to let me know what movies you guys might consider a masterpiece, or what movies are your favorite movies of all time, make sure to leave them in the comments down below. But as always, thank you guys for watching and for taking this time to listen to my opinion, whether you agree with it or not. Don't forget to like the video if you like, leave your comments down below, subscribe if you want to watch more videos, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you for watching Guerra Movie House. Like, comment, and subscribe for my videos. Peace out, homies.